Hello beautiful people. In today's video I want to share with you guys a vlog of the activities that is happening in my farm. I'm bringing in new batch of birds, so I just want to show you guys a breakdown procedures of my activities from morning, especially morning hours, and from when I'm stocking in the beds. So today I just decided to just start off this series. I didn't plan about it, but I'll just start, so that some guys can get to learn what procedures are. So this pen is already disinfected, so I'm about placing some papers on the floor where the space where I want to brood. So I used a zinc barricade with some blocks to do the partitioning. The essence of doing this small partition is to reduce the cost of getting to heat up a whole room. But heating up a small partition space like this is going to save cost a long way. So here I'm placing papers. So these are ordinary papers like exam papers, old exam papers. I'm supposed to use a special paper that is quite big for this purpose, but because I don't have that, so I just make do with what I have. Use this paper, spread. I've already spread wood shavings on the floor. So the essence of these papers is so that I can get to spread the feet on the surface when these birds arrive. I'm done spreading the papers on the surface. So this is a tray feeder I also use. The essence of this tray feeder so that the birds have quick access to feed. So here the birds are already here. So this is about 7 p.m. So I want to place the heat source to power the heat source. So I'm using stove as my heat source. So here I'm lightening up the stove, to serve as a heat source. So I filled this kerosene to the brim so that it's going to run for a long hour. So why I like using kerosene stove is that I can get to time and put enough kerosene that will run for a long period of time. So serve them, without me getting to monitor it at every interval. So I'm done lighting up the stove at this point. So I'm just waiting for the initial smoke to clear off. You can look at it very well. Waiting for the initial smoke to clear off. So the stove is right inside its piece. So the next thing is to pour some feed and their water. So first of all, we'll be putting glucose in their water for them. So right now, I'm not using the nipple drinkers yet because this nipple drinker is not cleaned. I've not disinfected the internal parts of the line. I'm supposed to disinfect it and flush it very well. And apart from that, getting to cover this brooding section very well. This is the glucose. This is a conventional glucose that humans consume. So we give this to birds because of the stress. So I'm just giving them 2 liters of water with some little quantity of glucose, just a tablespoonful of glucose for 2 liters of water. So I've been placing it as glucose for them to regain some energy, some strength because of the stress of transportation. I spent about an hour on the road because of traffic. That day it was raining, so we need to give these birds glucose to relieve them of stress. So the next thing is to spray feed on the floor. Right now, the stove, the level of the heat is way very high, but I think I did reduce it later in this video on that day. So that is me taking off the stove to fix the heat, to reduce it. So now it's reduced. Why I had to take it out because the regulator is faulty. So I had to take it off and fix it. So you see the floor is a bit leveled, covered with these papers. Underneath are wood shavings. So I already sprayed some wood shaving. So now I'm spraying feeds on the tray so that they can get quick access to food when they drop down. So these are the long feeders that I use for brooding. So these long feeders will give them quick access to feed. It's a better means of feeding brooding chicks so that you reduce your spending. So that tray will just be used for the first 2 days. Afterwards, you'll be taken out. The essence of using that tray is for them to have quick access to feed. Aside from that, this long feeders are much better. You get to reduce the cost of feed because the feed will not waste. So at this point, I'm spraying feeds on this floor. The floor is covered with paper. These are old manuscript papers that I'm using to cover the floor so that these birds can just see feed. See, feeds are already spread on the floor. So sorry about the camera view, is a little bit blur, but just endure and get to the concept. So the concept is using this paper so that I'll be able to pour feeds on the floor so that they have access. So right now I'm placing the beds inside of this space, inside of brooding partition. I'm counting them to be sure of the numbers of birds that I got from the hatchery. Because I didn't have the time to count them in the hatchery, so I'm just counting them while placing them. In big farms, they just pour everything all out, you know. But one thing with small farmers, we tend to be more careful in the way we handle birds. It's a normal thing. It's good for you to handle them carefully. So right now, I think this is the second carton that is out. So this particular batch, I brought in 100 broilers, which is 2 cartons. In Nigeria, the old chicks are usually packed in 50s, but they will normally give you an extra one so that in case there's any mortality on transit, that extra could cover up. So I had 102 extra one from the 2 cartons. So that's what I got here. So birds I just arrived. They arrived around 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. I went to the hatchery straight to pick up these birds. So the birds are hatched on Wednesday. So Wednesday evening is when I went to pick them up. It was raining that day, so there was some huge traffic on the road, plus some floods in some areas. And getting down to that location where the hatchery is, I used bike. So the birds coming out, introducing them step by step. They are quite active. They are quite very active. Yes, they are. So this is a view of how they are. 102. The heat source is giving them some serious warmth. The birds are excited. The excitement, they are out from their carton. A better environment where they have access to feed and water. See the advantage of spreading the feed on the floor. They are eating immediately. Yes, this is how to know birds that are very active. They like to eat immediately they are being dropped out. And illumination is very key. The light was very bright. The light was very bright. It's very important for you to have a bright illumination at night for your birds so that it will help them to eat very well. So this is a far view of the whole cage. This is a broad view of the pen. So I'm just preparing to cover it up. So I got an iron pipe to cross in the middle and I'm using zinc. So I'm covering the top with iron sheet zinc. So iron sheet zinc will cover it up at the top, to help to reduce heat in that partition to escape too much. So you have some regulatory level of heat in that partition. So here I try placing it on, I cross an iron pipe on the middle so as to hang these iron sheets zinc properly. So they are being placed cover. So this is how it looks after partitioning and covering it. So I used about 3 zincs. So 2 full and one that is half. It's cut into different half. So this is a view from one end, the corner that is open, and the essence of having this open room at the side here is so that the smoke from the stove will go out. So look on this other end. There's also a space there. So this is the view that I penetrated the camera through. So this is the break of the day, a fresh new day. It's Thursday morning. I'm checking up on the beds. I noticed that there's a burning from the corner from where the gate is from the stove. So that means the stove burned excessively. That's because of the weeds, the ropes were wet by the side or something. Thank God it did not happen in a very hard way. See the smoke from the stove. That means the stove didn't burn very well throughout the night. So I just had to look for a way to quench the fire that was coming from the side of the stove. So those are one of the disadvantages of using stove. If you don't use it very well, if you're not being careful to follow it up, there's every tendency that it might explode when you have bad crescents inside of it. So this one, some of the kerosene, it was very full. So some of the kerosene were exposed to the fire and it was burning from the side, which is not a good thing. Thank God it was didn't result to a bad accident that will cost the lives of these birds. They are all doing very well, no mortality. So at this point, I'm taking off the glucose water to introduce the first antibiotics to them. So here I want to present antibiotics. This is the kind of antibiotics I'm using. So you see it. Check my previous video. I made a video talking about sharing about these antibiotics. These antibiotics have been serving for me very well. For about 2 years now, I've been using these antibiotics and I don't get unnecessary mortalities during that any brooding. See, I use tablespoonful of it to serve for 4 liters of water. So I'm about to place the water inside. Yeah, that's it. They're all excited. But they are a bit scared. See them packed in one area. They're a bit scared because of the zinc makes some crazy noise. Or whenever there's a noise that is not quite familiar to them, they tend to shout and they get scared to move in one direction. So that's why I try to reduce unnecessary noise to them so that they don't get too scared and have some heart failures which might result to mortality. So I've added another feeder for them so that they have more advantage to grow faster, more feet. So at this point, I'm done with them this morning. All I'll just have to do is to just check to make sure that that stove is burning properly. So this is me covering it. So thanks for watching this far. And I'll see you guys tomorrow when I'll share some updates on how and better ways of growing our chicks very well. So thanks for watching this far. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Please subscribe.